All right, Kentucky evens up the series. Sorry I took off yesterday. I had to take the wife to dinner. Hopefully you understand. Ole Miss won last night. They blew the game today. Kentucky was able to win the game. They're up 9-2 currently in the top of the ninth. Ole Miss isn't hitting the ball, period. But this is the post-game pod on the Locked On Ole Miss podcast.
You are Locked On Ole Miss, your daily podcast on the Ole Miss Rebels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, welcome to the post-game pod on the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. Thank you very much for joining us, and thank you for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms. Today's not really a good day. Hunter Elliot actually did a good job. He pitched. The pitching staff, the starting rotation, has shown up this weekend. Late in the game, Derek Diamond gave up some runs and was allowed this to stretch out to the 9-2. But the reality of this is the bats are not working. The bats are not a situation to where you can honestly look at them as okay. And that is because last week, and I talked about last week several times, that I feared that this weekend would destroy confidence and Ole Miss's lack of hitting. And it obviously got in their heads. I think in the last 2 days they have somewhere in the neighborhood of 7 or 8 hits or something like that. And because of that, they're not scoring runs. They're not this vaunted offense that everybody's heard about. Because confidence in team sports are absolutely everything. You have to have it. Whenever you have a bad day, you have to be able to wipe it off and move on about your day, what's going on. But facing elite SEC pitching against Tennessee that was able to just really do a number on these teams, and it carrying over into the Kentucky game where this staff is is good, but it's in nowhere even close to that Tennessee staff. It's not even the same ballpark. And struggling just as much against them, this is a confidence issue. This is absolutely a confidence issue. And Ole Miss needs to snap out of it. Tomorrow now has become a super important game. This is a series Ole Miss can't afford to lose. If Ole Miss loses this series, we genuinely have to start talking about Ole Miss being a 2-seed in a regional or something like that, a 3-seed in a regional. Because if this lingers, it's going to affect the confidence moving forward. And you've got this week, you've got Alabama next week, and then the SEC slate gets really difficult. So understand what is going on with Ole Miss baseball. The confidence right now, and it's all confidence. It's nothing to do with talent. It's nothing. It's all confidence. It's the fact that they're going up, taking half-hearted swings. They're doing bad at bats. They start pressing. It's like when I describe Jackson Kimbrell. Jackson Kimbrell is a great pitcher against a team pressing for a hit, and not a great pitcher against a team that is in the lead and cruising. Why? Because his stuff works whenever people are really pressing. And because of that, you can really take advantage of what they're doing. It's like the martial art that uses your own momentum against you and takes advantage of what's going on. And this is the final score in the game, Kentucky a 9-2 winner. This is not Hunter Elliott's fault. He pitched actually a good game. He started out a little bit shaky. But he pitched a pretty good game. But before we get started, I do want to tell you that BetOnline.net is your number one source for all your betting needs and sports information. Find all the latest sports developments, including this week's Masters Championship odds, podcast, and reviews for different leagues all season. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering information, including live betting, esports, and scores. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline, where the game starts. It's a cool thing. They've got odds and props just about everywhere, and you can take advantage of what's going on. They have odds on, will the United States soccer team upset England? As the World Cup gets a little closer. The number of win totals that Ole Miss is going to do. They do props for just about everything, and they have wagering for just about everything. So it's pretty cool about that. But this is the time of year I've pretty much given up on all my New Year's resolutions, but not this year. This year I'm sticking to my resolution to eat right thanks to Built Bar. It almost feels like it's not really a resolution because I actually enjoy eating them. Have you tried Puffs? If you haven't, you're missing out on one of Built Bar's best tasting bars. Puffs are a fan favorite with some incredible flavors: yummy cinnamon churro, coconut marshmallow, banana cream pie. So good. These are going to be your new favorite. So, mint chocolate chip, coconut almond, and new for this month, white chocolate cookies and cream. They are all delicious. They're all new flavors that are all coming out all the time. That's a whole bunch of alls. If they think a flavor might be good, they'll make it. It'll be delicious, and it will be good for you. At Built Bar, they're all about the taste. They make it taste delicious first, then they figure out how to make it healthy. And I don't know how they do it, but they pull it off every single time. So here's your offer. Go to Built.com, use promo code LOCKED15 and get 15% off your order. Use promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at Built.com. Now, we are talking about a little bit, Kentucky getting the win 9-2, evening the series at 1-1. And the first segment before we went into commercial break was all about confidence. It was. But we need to take our hats off a little bit. We went in and struggled in starting pitching last year. There were moves made, and the starting pitcher has worked. Now, the question is, the bullpen's gotten a little bit worse. It's one of those delicate balance things. But Hunter Elliot, looked very, very good after he had a little bit of jitters in the first inning. That's purely explainable. Starting on a Saturday in the SEC, that's a big deal for him. And I'm sure nerves were a huge part of what was going on. But he settled down and was able to get some outs after that. On Friday, Dylan DeLucci had a heck of a game. Absolutely. In a 2-1 win, he was able to go no earned runs, do everything that he needs to do, and just was a Friday night type guy. Now we have to see who is going to start tomorrow, what's going on, and we have to get that win. This has to be a series win. Period. There is no room for Kentucky to win the series, not if we want to go where we want to go. If we lose this series, it's going to be a problem. Alabama the same way. That's a series that should be won, absolutely. And then the SEC slate gets more difficult. Mississippi State, LSU, Texas A&M. Those teams pop up on the schedule. South Carolina. And understanding that those games are going to be much more difficult than these, we have to get everything situated. But to do that, we have to get out of this slump. This is absolutely a slump, and it's all a mental block, and people are pressing at the plate, and the result is a 3-hitter on a Saturday against Kentucky, and a game that against a pitcher that Ole Miss would eventually work the counts into a level that he's out of the game in the 5th inning. But he goes and he goes and goes until the trainer had to go get him out. Only had 95 pitches. He could still throw in a few more, but I just don't know. If this game gets lost tomorrow, we need to start preparing ourselves for not really a hosting environment moving forward. And we need to start preparing ourselves that maybe Southern Miss is the best team in the state of Mississippi this year. We might be going to Pete Taylor Park, or Mississippi State might be going to Pete Taylor Park. Understand that. Know what is going on. Don't be afraid of it. Don't do anything like that. You still have the same path to get where you want to go. Just might not be the easy home situation regional where Ole Miss is comfortable. The one time Ole Miss went to Omaha, they got there with the road series in the Super Regional. So it could happen. But it is imperative tomorrow that Ole Miss wins the game. If Ole Miss loses the game tomorrow, my tone is going to change. Understand that. Be ready for that. People get on and say what you know about baseball, what you don't know about baseball. If Ole Miss loses this game in a series that is a must-win series, loses that series, it is going to be problematic to get to the goals that they themselves set. Now, you want a good season? Yeah, you probably still have a good season. But if you want to have an elite season and be this number one offense that everybody was talking about, like Arizona last year, pitching going through dominance, got some young guys coming in throwing the ball. Yeah, you got to win this series. There's no excuses. Today was not a good day. But Hunter Elliott wasn't his fault. And I don't want to hear anybody say it was his fault. But thank you very much for tuning in today. This has been the post-game pod on the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. Try to make this a little bit fun for you. Yeah, it is what it is, but this game is what it is. It was a situation where Kentucky played really well. The bullpen kind of bit Ole Miss a little bit and on the Saturday game. And Saturday, in their fairness, Saturday is Kentucky's best pitcher. But we'll see what Sunday looks like, including who's going to throw the. Is he going to be able to go deep? Is he going to get 5, 6, 7 innings of work out of the starter? If he can do that, all of a sudden, the bullpen can be in a way that they have a chance to be pretty good tomorrow. But if they lose that game, it's going to be a different tone moving forward in the season. This just is. So anyway, this has been the post-game pod on the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. Hope everybody has a good time. Tune in for us tomorrow for another post-game pod and Monday for the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. Peace.